back to Mira's Maze. As always, it's your girl Mira, and I am back with another review. Today, I will be reviewing the 5th episode of Married at First Sight. And honey, it might as well have just been the first because we are finally getting into the shit. Like, producers, hear us out when we say this is what we want to see. This was actually a good episode. We got some tea, we got to see more of the personalities, we got to see more of who the hell ain't gonna work out and why. And this is what I'm living for. This was actually a very good episode. So we just gonna dive right into it. So first, I'm gonna just start off with Jose and Rachel because they seem to honestly be doing the best, which is surprising to me because, as I said, I had wrote them off as the train wreck couple of the season, but they are proving me wrong. Now, how authentic some of this is, I'm just not even gonna get on that yet, but like I said, they seem to be doing the best. So it's the first morning after they spent the night at the place where they're doing their honeymoon, and Rachel is trying to get to the shit. Like, basically, she's seeing what we see, which is that they are going through all their similarities, even if it's the most simplest thing is, oh, we both like to smile. Oh, we have so much in common. But let's get to it. What are our differences? Like, what's different about us? What doesn't click about us? And instead of going into something with some depth or talking about some real shit, Jose says, well, I noticed that you like your coffee black. And I like to put a little cream in my coffee. Really, Jose? Really? That's what you came up with? I know y'all got more differences than that. Like y'all financial differences, which we gonna talk about later on in the episode. But come on, bro, you could have got a little deeper than that. But Rachel's like, boy. She said, so here's the thing. You talking about coffee, I'm talking about I don't want you feeding me. I'm not no baby. I'm independent. I don't like that. And Jose's like, and she's like, I definitely don't want you brushing my teeth, which is weird. Like, Jose has some weird things about him. Like, why do you enjoy feeding people so much? Why do you want to brush your wife's teeth? Like, questions that need answers. These is the disturbing questions that we really need answers to, Jose. We don't care why you like your coffee with cream. We don't care. So then we continue to see that independence is a real strong thing for Rachel because as she said, her pops has taught her some things, and Daddy gamed her up real good when she was young. Like, don't be dependent on no man. Don't become reliant on anyone. Don't just be moving in and getting taken care of. And then if something goes wrong, you left out to dry. Lessons that some women still need to learn to this day. So I'm very glad that Rachel is sticking to her guns on that. But like I said, they seem to really be clicking. I don't know how much of it is forced and how much of it is genuine right now. But even the other couples have noted, like, they are very affectionate. They're always kissing, which I guess is good for them. It's a good sign to some people. To me, I'm just not that much of an overly affectionate person. So all of that stuff actually kind of gets on my nerves, especially in public PDA when you're around other people and you're just doing too much. So to me, it's a little much. It's being laid on a little thick. But I digress. It's just something I can't really put my finger on, but I'm going to let them have it. So also, I'll just go ahead and talk about when all of the couples met at the pool and they were kind of talking. One, I noticed that Brett and Ryan do a lot of analyzing and watching the other couples, and most of the time that's the couples that don't really have that much going on themselves, so they focus on the other couples a lot, which is definitely the case because I have the least amount of notes for them, and they was on the episode more than Michaela and Zach, and I feel like I got more notes for them. So I definitely think that they are analyzing the other couples so much as a distraction from the fact that they just don't have nothing going on themselves. Like I said, everybody noted how affectionate and chummy Rachel and Jose seem to be. Bao and Johnny revealed, you know, that they actually weren't strangers and have actually known each other for quite some years. Bao once again brings up the fact that Johnny ghosted her. My good sis is still not feeling that. Like, you ghosted her, you know, and she's gonna give you this chance. She's gonna let you have it, but you ghosted her. So she did bring that up again. Everybody's noticing that Michaela and Zach have been MIA. Nobody's really talked to either of them, and we'll get to that down the line, but they weren't there. And then also Gil had to come by himself because Mirla was working. Girl, you was not working, Mirla. You was in that room complaining about being in the nursing home, calling your girls, telling them how weak your honeymoon is. Like, we know what you was doing. You was not working, and you just didn't want to be bothered with them people. So just say that, because that's what was going on. You was not working on your honeymoon. You, of all people, working on your honeymoon after all this you done did about what you would expect of a honeymoon. You telling me you plan to work? Yeah, all right. So I also noted that Gil to me seemed to have so much more personality when he was with everybody else. Like, I won't necessarily say that he dims it all the way down with Mirla, because he does definitely, he still is himself, but it seems like it's more of a watered down version. Like, he's almost trying to tread lightly with her. And that just bothers me a little bit. And that once again just reflects that they just shouldn't be together. But that was all the couples together. So let's get back to Rachel and Jose. So they did end up going on a date, and once again Rachel is on her all my women independent. Like, she is Miss Independent to the fullest, and that's what she stands on. That's her principles. And Jose is talking about how he owns his house, and that is a iffy subject for her, because she doesn't know that she just wants to move in and set in a role. She wants to have a role. She wants more of a 50-50 type of thing. She's more so with, we can have our own separate bank accounts and then have our joint bank accounts for the expenses that we do together. And he's more so, he wants her to be a kept woman. He wants to take care of his wife. He takes pride in being the man and the one to take care of everything, which is conflicting to something that he said before. Because Jose, were you not the same person who said you don't want nobody just coming in and reaping the benefits of everything that you got, and you don't work so hard? And which one is it, sir? Which one is it? So Rachel is definitely right to have her guards up, because we all know those men who make it seem like they want to take care of a woman, they want to sweep her off her feet, they want to do this, they want to do that. Then when they get tired, they want to throw up everything they've done for you in their face, and everything is theirs. First it was what's mine is yours, and now it's what's mine is mine. Which one is it? So I don't know. He's saying some conflicting things. And then later on, the last scene I have for them, they were eating dessert, and I instantly was like, no, don't try to feed her, Jose. Let that woman feed herself. You know she don't like it. And he didn't, you know, so it was cool. But he was like, but I like to be fed too, so feed me. So then she fed him. Is it a fetish? Is it a fetish? Is that what's going on, Jose? Like, let me know. That's weird to me. So then we have Johnny and Bao. I really like them. Like, I really don't think it's going to work, which makes me really sad. But their interactions are super fun to me, and Johnny just seems really funny and player to me, and I just really want them to work, even though I just don't think it is. So they wake up, and Johnny gets to talking about these little animals that he was hearing, and it woke him up. And so he had kind of stayed up to watch them to just make sure nothing happened. And I'm really like, what? Because the way Mirla done talked about this place like it's so raggedy and broke down, it wasn't that far-fetched. So Johnny really had me believing him, but turned out he was only talking about Bao's snoring, and he was just teasing, really. So weird fact about Bao, we learned that she collects bathing suits that she doesn't really wear, because she doesn't really feel comfortable showing her body off, but she will wear them around the house despite not having a poo. And Johnny's like, yeah, that's weird. And I'm like, yeah, that's a little weird. That's a little weird. It's like but their interactions are just so fun to me. Like, I like how he's just honest. Like, he didn't just go along to get along and say, oh, that's perfectly normal. Nah, he was like, yeah, that's weird, but you know, I like you, so we gonna keep it pushing. She also said that that Conan is her hall pass, and he's like, yeah, that's fine, as long as I can watch. He slid that in there, and Bao was like cracking up, and then she's like, oh. But I just think it's funny. Like, I really like him. So then Later on, Johnny reaches out to Jose because he wants to help plan something romantic for Bao, and he's like, you know, you just seem like the romantic type. Yeah, right. He was like, he'll be able to pick out something cute for Bao, to where we know Jose is a little zesty. So Bao reacted how you are supposed to react to a surprise, because we're gonna get to Mirla later on when Gil, you know, tries to surprise her. But you know, Bao was very appreciative of it. She was like, oh, I've never even had something as simple as a picnic. Like, this is literally the sweetest thing that anyone has ever done for me. And you know, Johnny has every intention of laying it down on the table and letting her know how much he really likes her, because at this point things have been so hot and cold and going back and forth between romantic and awkward that he doesn't really know what where they stand, as he mentioned to Jose when they were talking. So he definitely wants to let that be known, and hopefully he has that reciprocated to him, because we know that that is a sensitive subject for him. But luckily Bao just was like, you know, I just think that things are a little weird because we've known each other and now this is our first interactions romantically. So she's like, I think that's where the weirdness is coming from, but I definitely like you. So it was reciprocated. They were both very happy, and Johnny decides to confess, you know, because I've been on 100 first dates, and you know, I'm really glad that Bao just took it on the chin. You know, she laughed it off. She didn't get all critical like some people we've seen in the past, like 100 first dates. He's a serial dater, and you know, take such offense to it and make it a big thing. You know, she was just like, maybe if you wouldn't have ghosted me all these years ago, I could have saved you some time. I could have saved you some dates, honey, because maybe we wouldn't have had to be married at first sight, because we would already, you know, be established. So, and I like Bao too. I really do. She is high strung, but the way she reacts to certain things just surprises me, because I'm like, she's really high strung, and I thought that would have been an issue, but she just took it on the chin. So I don't know, I really want them to work, but still something in me tells me, and it's not gonna work. And here we have a prime example why. Later on that night, when it's time for bed, you know, here we go with the sleeping in separate beds again. Like, why? And even Johnny in the confessional was like, it's like I take 20 steps forward and 10 steps back. Like, I feel like I'm getting her walls down and we're going somewhere, and then she throws in another wrench, because we learned how much of an insecurity snoring is for her. Like, to the point where she said she had been to camp before as a camp leader in the past, and she would stay up and not sleep just so no one would hear her snoring. So it troubles me so much, because she has so many deep-rooted insecurities. And the thing is, Johnny has insecurities too. Like, he's not just perfect. He has his issues. He has some trauma from the past, and he definitely has some insecurities. But it seems a little more deep-rooted with Bao, and it seems like it's going to be more of an issue when it comes to her insecurities versus his. I think his are a little bit more, I could see him working through them and overcoming it, and though it's issues for him, it won't be for them as a couple. Versus her insecurities are just pouring out, and I don't know. So we're gonna move on to Mirla and Gil. So she wakes up complaining, like, getting on my nerves, getting on Gil's nerves, still calling the place a senior citizen home. Like, she just really strikes me as one of those people who can suck the fun out of everything. Like, I know that some things don't always meet our expectations, but sometimes you literally have to go along to get along and just have a good time. Even if this wasn't the ideal honeymoon that you would have thought of, this is your honeymoon. This is a stranger that you're trying to get to know. So rather than complain about everything and talk about how you would prefer things to be, just have fun. So, you know, to me, Gil is kind of just going along, letting her have her moments. You know, he's like trying to make the most of it, because he ended up saying, you know, at least she's straight to it and she just says what's on her mind. So I know she's not being fake, but that doesn't mean it's not problematic, because it very much is. So, he also asked her how would she rate the marriage, and she says an 8. You know, just because, you know, they're still getting to know each other and all of that stuff. And so then she asked him, she's like, oh, I know you're probably gonna say a 10, and he's like, no, I'm not gonna say a 10. Like, And then it's like she essentially is getting mad because he's not an asshole like she is. Like, you want him to be complaining and be mad and have an attitude about things because you do. Everyone is not an asshole, Marilyn. And I'm sorry, but you're coming off a little, and I don't really think it's the editing. Like, I know sometimes we can see it being the editing, but the way she is and then his reactions and what we hear him say pretty much aligns to the fact that you are a complainer. You are a nagger. You are a little annoying. So he says, well, you're not like a Karen. Girl, you getting there. So I already talked about him going to the pool alone, and he even had a volleyball that they were playing with, and he was like, this was Marilyn. And I think it was a little passive aggressive, like he was probably knocking the hell out that ball. So then he tries to surprise her with a date, which she complains about and talks about getting sick and blah, blah, blah. And look, I know that some things you just have your reservations about. You might not want to do. You might be a little scared to do, but you are with your husband. So just let go, just have fun, and just enjoy the surprise. Even if you don't like surprises. I don't like surprises. I always try to figure out what surprises are coming because I don't like being surprised. But I'm never going to act ungrateful about it. She's just a little ungrateful. So then he also surprises her when they get back to the room, and he has a little cute little setup, and they have macaroons, and he's like, see, macaroons, just bougie like you, because I prefer a nice little old cookie, but she brings it back, and she's like, yeah, but you still like the macaroons. So even though you like the basic cookies, admitting you a little bougie too. And I mean, they do have a little playfulness to them. And even I think they both say, that's kind of how we do. We like joke with each other. That's kind of our banter. But if that's all that there is, then that's not going to make for a good relationship, because eventually a little jokey joke is going to turn into something more, especially if y'all not feeling each other at the moment. So we going to see. So then we have Ryan and Brett. And like I said, I did not have very many notes about them, other than they like to analyze all the couples. And really, I want to see how she acted on the plane. Like, that might have been something to get us a little, something for this couple, because I've just been seeing nothing after nothing after nothing for them each episode. But what did she do on this plane? Because Ryan is still recovering it from it, honey. And I really think he would have left her if they wasn't doing this process. And I'm really trying to see where Ryan's finesse is coming from. Like, for someone who's been on all these dates and dates model like women, what are they getting out of you? Because I feel like you are giving Brett absolutely nothing. And I think you have potential. I mean, I think he's an attractive man. I think, there is something there, but what is it? Like, I know your friend said she might have to pull you out of your shell, but that's a lot of work. Like, eventually you're gonna have to give her something. So, and then also I noticed he talks a lot about kids. Like, when they went to, get massages, she's trying to get something out of him, and start talking about something with some depth. He brings up kids. When they go out to dinner later on, he brings up kids. But I'm glad that she kind of made the line of the difference between a family and kids. Like, yeah, you can go have a kid with any woman that you choose, but what about the family aspect of it? Like, the wife, the husband, and the kids. You doing your part to make your wife happy so that it can be happy for the kids. Like, it kind of makes me feel like, do you want the marriage, or did you want to just get married so you could go ahead and have the kids that you want? So we gonna see. So then lastly, we have Michaela and Zach. And it became pretty evident that he had COVID before they even said it, because he was feeling sick at the end of the last episode. So, and then when we didn't see them much this episode, and then they didn't go to the pool with the couples, I immediately was like, okay, he does have COVID. Obviously, they was ghost town. So we finally get to see Michaela's meltdown, because, honey, seeing that on the preview had us all a little shook. And I will say, it wasn't as bad as the preview made it seem. Like, I'm a drama queen too, and I can understand the frustration and the sadness even that would come from your spouse getting COVID on y'all honeymoon and y'all not being able to be together and having to quarantine apart. That is very sad, and I would be very unhappy, especially since she had to go back home and he had to stay there. It's just like this time, and then they're a part of a process right now. So this is time that they should be spending getting to know each other, because at the end of the day, their days are kind of numbered before they make this ultimate decision. So I definitely see where the meltdown was coming from. Like, I would have been sick. Like, I would have been so upset. And so I'm gonna give her this pass on this meltdown, because we can have our opinions on it, but we react to things certain ways that we probably wouldn't want people to see, that don't get captured on camera, that ain't our best moment. So this meltdown, I am going to give her a pass for it. Now, what we gonna see later on down the line, I'm a little scared about. I'm still worried of the hurricane, but this one I think was justified. I mean, she could have came off a little differently, because also taking consideration, he's the one with COVID. He's the one really sick. We don't even know how serious of a case this could be. So I do think that should have been taken into consideration, but also that could have been part of the conversation. But of course, we're only going to see the meltdown because for TV purposes. So I'm gonna give her that pass. So that was this episode. Like I said, producers, this is what we want to see. This might as well have been the first episode, because this is when we are finally getting to it. And this is what I like to see. So y'all make sure y'all let me know what y'all thought down in the comments down below. Of course, like the video and subscribe, and I will see y'all next week with my next review.